Hallo. Nein. Das John Cena-Bild ist weg. Warum ist das Gesicht von John Cena weg? Habe ich das Bild gelöscht? Tatsache. Dann kurzen Moment. Ah! Gut. So. So, ein ganz kurzen Moment. Ähm, muss kurz was gucken. Kurz was probieren. Weil angeblich kommt Jezebel nicht auf den Creepypasta-Kanal. Und ich muss den Login nochmal prüfen. Und ja, einen kurzen Moment noch. So. Ach Mann. Kurzen Moment. Ganz kurzen Moment. Abmelden. Anmelden. So, nochmal. So, einen kurzen Moment. So. Gut, dann. Herzlich willkommen zum Hust-Stream. Ja, es ist Samstag und ja, Samstag haben wir ja als allererstes immer unser Higurashi. Zumindest aktuell. Und ja, ansonsten restliche Spiele, die wir heute spielen. Auf jeden Fall erstmal die Spiele, die wir gestern nicht spielen konnten, heißt Night of the Rabbit, Shovel Knight und Devil May Cry. Das werden aber definitiv nicht alle Spiele sein, die wir spielen werden heute. Daher werden wir die Spiele spielen und dann mal schauen. Mal schauen, was wir noch sonst spielen werden. Vielleicht ein bisschen Guacamelee, weil da sind wir ja schon recht weit. Da müssen wir eigentlich nur noch die restlichen Bereiche auf 100% bringen und dann können wir eigentlich das Spiel fertig machen. Ansonsten, ich habe auch noch ein paar andere Spiele, die wir jetzt noch nicht angefangen haben, die aber ziemlich interessant und ziemlich lustig sind, ziemlich cool. Schauen wir einfach mal, wie das so ist. Aber erstmal die Spiele, die wir auf jeden Fall gestern erstmal nicht gespielt haben, beziehungsweise nicht dazugekommen sind. Und natürlich erstmal als allererstes Higurashi, was erstmal starten muss. Kann einen kurzen Moment dauern. So. So. Ja. So. Und continue. Ich bin immer noch etwas erkältet. Etwas sehr. Und ja. Ich hoffe, das ist relativ schnell wieder weg. So. Continue. Mein Gott. So. I might have explained this before, but phys ed at our school is really just an exercise in disorder. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. You're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep. I'm not really sure, but doesn't the Board of Education have some sort of curriculum for this? Something like, when you're this old, you should have this amount of physical ability? I have no idea what you're saying, Keiichi-san. It's rather difficult to understand. Well, you see, it's something like a rule for teachers to follow during class. Ahahaha. Maybe you weakling city folk need something like that. But do you really think us country-raised kids would lag behind in physical ability? Warum ist die Sportkleidung von den Frauen immer extrem kurz geschnitten irgendwie? Das ist etwas, besonders wenn man das Alter von den ganzen Leuten betrachtet, ist das ein bisschen, ja, etwas, ja, problematisch. We're better athletes than you would think, Keiichi. Come to think of it, they might be right. Weil Japan, ja, das wäre auch mein erster Gedanke. If we all lined up for a race, there was a good chance I'd finish dead last if I didn't start off well. Lasst mich doch einfach Livestream machen, Leute. Oh Gott. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, the 100-meter dash isn't a club activity. On that note, I watched too much television, so I'm fantastically tired. I'll be using this time to catch up on my sleep. It's 4th period and I'm completely starved. Alter, if I don't sleep now, when will I ever? As I begin to sprawl out on top of a pipe, Mion grabbed me by the collar. Tisk tisk tisk. Tisk tisk tisk. Do you really think I'd let you sleep in peace and quiet? With that look on your face, it'd require more courage to try and take a nap than not. Good grief. Which means, is it going to start again? Now! Just killing time with idle chit-chat until the bell rings is impossible for us hot-blooded youth, isn't it? Shall we start a club activity? Just as I thought, it's come to this. What's today's game? Now that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that, with this sleep-deprived head of mine, I'm as good as mincemeat. I have to get my brain into gear. Rena thinks that we should decide what today's penalty game should be before we start. Ich mache übrigens jetzt schon mal Abstimmung. Moment. Muss ich niesen? Ja, nein, ich weiß es nicht. Nee, zum Glück nicht. Damit man dann, wenn ich Pause mache, dann schon eintragen kann, welches Spiel wir nach Higurashi spielen. So, was haben wir denn? Devil May Cry, Night of the Rabbit. Noch irgendwas? Beim Shovel Knight. Gut. Also ihr dürft jetzt schon mal abstimmen, was wir dann nach Higurashi spielen. Beziehungsweise nach der Pause nach Higurashi. Hihihi. Rena knows what's up. I prepared something super special today. She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. But before she could do that... I'm sorry, I have something that I wanted to do. Of all people, it was Rika-chan announcing her non-participation. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her timing, Mion spun like a top as she tumbled to the ground. What? Huh? What's the matter? Are you not feeling well? Oh, that's right. Michan, she has to practice for the Watanagashi. That's right. It's this Sunday. Rika is in the middle of super serious training right now. I've been working too hard lately, so my arms hurt. I see. Well, there's nothing that can be done. There's no point in doing anything if we can't get everybody together. Today, let's just take it easy. I'm very sorry, but I'll try my best. Yeah, good luck. We'll be cheering on you. Meine ich. Mein Gott. When Mion announced that today's club activity was cancelled, Rika-chan and Satoko headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless as to what everybody was talking about. What was that about? Is Rika-chan training for a competition or something? Rika-chan is a shrine maiden for the Watanagashi, so she has to perform a ritual dance. It's practice for that. Why don't you explain things in order? First of all, what is this Watanagashi? Next, what do you mean by shrine maiden? Last, what do you mean by ritual dance? Huh? Didn't you get the notice at your house, Kei-chan? Wasn't it written there? The Watanagashi festival is this Sunday. Huh? Come to think of it, I have a feeling Mom did say something about it during dinner the other day. The Watanagashi is a festival that happens at the shrine on a Sunday every June. It's very lively. Or lively. Irgendwie so. I see, but Watanagashi sounds like a pretty strange name for it. Is it something like the Lantern Festival, where they have a memorial for the dead by floating things down the river? Oh, I figured you might guess right, Kei-chan. Watanagashi, or Cotton Drift Festival, is, as the name implies, where we set cotton adrift down the river. The cotton, you see, is from futons or jackets, so it'd be something like a futon memorial. They also pile futons up on the altar. I've heard of people leaving offerings of things like needles or kitchen knives to their ancestors or to casualties of war. But an offering of futons is a first for me. What's the history behind that? Mion tilted her head pensively. I don't think there's a complicated backstory to it. The winters around here are pretty harsh, so things like warm futons and coats to ward off the cold are fairly important, I guess. Ah, I see. In other words, it's something like giving thanks to the futons that took care of you during the winter then. Then the Shrine Maiden holds a memorial service for them and set them adrift. That's what the Watanagashi is? Mion and Reina indicated that I had the correct answer with a round of applause. And you see, that Shrine Maiden performing the memorial is Rika-chan. Oh, so Rika-chan is a Shrine Maiden. Now that you mention it, Rika-chan does have a mystical air about her. Right? Right? Rika-chan is a Shrine Maiden So, Rika-chan in a Shrine Maiden outfit. Oh! So cuter. It certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cuter. I finally get what you're saying. Rika-chan's training is for her performance as a Shrine Maiden then. That would be it. The Shrine Maiden has to purify a number of futons as part of the ceremony. It's practice for that. It's a lot of hard work. The Shrine Maiden has to carry a large ceremonial hoe as part of the rite. And it's really heavy for Rika-chan. Well, Rika-chan is pretty small. Exactly how heavy is the hoe? It's pretty heavy. Enough that Rika-chan has been practicing with a mochi mallet. Wait a minute. It's way too heavy. Forget about Rika-chan. That'd be rough even for me. It's a sacred ceremonial hoe. If she dropped it by accident, it'd be big trouble. Well, it's a once a year kind of deal. Abstimmen geht nicht mehr über den Chat, muss direkt hier anklicken. Zum Beispiel Devil May Cry und dann auf Abstimmen klicken. Ist ein bisschen einfacher in Hitbox als auf Twitch. All we can do is cheer from the sidelines. It'll be okay. She pulled it off last year. Really? Then the last I can do is cheer her on. The least I can do, wait. Even something that little would help, right? I was rather curious about exactly how she practiced. Mion laughed as she shook her head. Leave her alone. If you go, Rika-chan will get all cute and won't be able to practice. I didn't quite understand what Mion was saying. You see, Rika-chan doesn't like showing people how hard she works, okay? So just leave her be. Even the always cool and aloof Rika-chan has times when she sweats while giving it her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see an ungainly side of her. It's not like I couldn't understand that feeling. All I can do is pray for her success, huh? Do your best, Rika Furude. I'm cheering for you. Well then. I climbed up onto the pipe and plopped down on my side. Hooray, hooray, Rika-chan! In order to transmit more of my physic waves of encouragement, I'll be entering a meditative state now. Is she just going to sleep after all? Okay. The lackadaisical noontime ended up giving way to mind-numbing afternoon classes. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition. I might have gorged myself a bit too much. I'll have to endure afternoon classes. Ahahaha. Keiichi-kun, you had an amazing appetite today. Basically, you always eat like a pig. But today was on a whole different level. Yesterday I skipped lunch, right? That hunger just soaked right in. This time, no matter how much I ate, my hunger knew no bounds. Nahahaha. I get you. But really, Kei-chan, you always finish your lunch. You always... Bleh. Ich kann heute nicht gescheit reden. Ich nehme an, das liegt ein bisschen an der Erkältung. But really, Kei-chan, you always finish your lunch down to the last bite. Heck, even down to the last grain of rice. With food, you show your appreciation for the person who made it by eating it, you know? If you leave any behind, it's rude to the person who put in all that effort. Hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh. Kei-chan, really. At first glance, you seem unruly and irresponsible, but you're actually pretty conscientious. Oder so. Egal. Well, disciplined or something like that. Yeah. Reina thinks so too. Warum wiederholt die so viel doppelt? Das ist merkwürdig. Keiichi-kun is a lot kinder than he looks. Both of them were probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all. That's not true. I just wanted to say that there's a big gap between your appearance and your personality. And I'm saying that's not a compliment. Hey, Sonosaki-san, my Barakun, we're in the middle of class. How far did you get, Sonosaki-san? Bring your notes up here. Startled, Mion vocalized a rather easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation, she had stopped working completely. Doing alright. You haven't progressed at all. You're in the highest grade, so you have to shape up. But Mion, it looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard. Appearances can be deceiving, in other words. Actually, appearance might be the opposite of reality. You say some interesting things. Responding to Reina's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Satoko was happily studying together with Rika-chan. Are you saying that Brad Satoko is actually really meek? If I went by what Reina literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Satoko being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy tale. Satoko-chan's been rude lately, but just a while ago she was pretty different. She acted really spoiled and always... Yep. Keep this a secret from Satoko-chan, okay? Sternchen. With Satoko acting so cute. For Satoko to play coy, I think that would have to be some part of some calculated plot. My god. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. But since it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and coquettish Satoko. Oh god. Oh god. Hey Satoko. What is it, Onisama? Satoko smiled cutely and walked towards me. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Satoko took, for some reason, I took 3 steps away. Onisama, why are you running away? Sorry, Satoko. For you to approach me with an affectionate smile on your face, I just have to think it's some sort of trap. That's so mean. Onisama, you meanie. Sorry. I didn't intend to be so mean. The weeping Satoko came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Click. Clank. Huh? A bear trap. My leg was being clamped down on by a jagged metal teeth. What? Oh, you fell for it! Now for the next part. Satoko raised her right arm triumphantly and traps began to trigger one after another. Suddenly the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. And there I saw a giant metal ball covered in spikes, hurtling towards me. On top of that, in the direction of the ball would knock me was a giant guillotine. I'm not really sure, but Keiji-kun, you're not thinking of anything completely ludicrous right now, are you? Not really. Not at all. That's a lie. You've got the kind of look on your face that says, I'm gonna be crushed by a giant spiked metal ball. How could my expression convey what I was thinking like that? Sorry. Imagining a meek and gentle Satoko is impossible right now. I'll try again when I'm in better shape. Next, I looked over at Rika-chan, who was working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Satoko, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rika-chan came at me saying, Onisama, I'd hug her tightly. I could get used to that. Keiji-kun, you're drooling. Sorry. Then how about Rika-chan? Are you saying that her appearance is deceiving as well? Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rika-chan really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she really was quite sly. Sweetly, how do you put it? Evading things deftly? I get the feeling that Rika-chan isn't only just sweet. Her appearance is definitely deceiving. I couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Reina managed to say what I wanted to do. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she was saying, you shouldn't say something like that. When Rika-chan grows up, I'm sure she'll become an incredibly devilish beauty, with men wrapped all around her little finger. Don't you think that would be cool? Reina said that lightheartedly, but I as a man, couldn't laugh at all at that, meine ich. The scary part about that was that I felt like it could be true. Das sollte nicht aufgehen. So. Noticing my gaze, Rika-chan turned towards me and let loose with an angelic smile. Both Reina and I, feeling as if that was directed towards us personally, had our hearts skip a beat. Oh, so cute, so cute. Reina, your nose is bleeding. Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well then, what about our dear leader Mion? I stared at her as she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. By Reina's theory that unrefined, calculating, conniving Mion also had a side of her that belied appearances. Then what you're saying is that Mion, despite her appearance, is actually a good person. Mi-chan is a good person. Oh well, that is true. But what I'm trying to say is... Yep, I know what you're trying to say, Keiichi-kun. Catching on that, I was struggling to express my feelings as words. Reina smiled even more brightly. Know what? Mi-chan is mysterious, right? She's a girl, but it's like she's a guy. That's right. Mion was more than aware than she was a girl. But it was exactly as Reina said. When Mion livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or a girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender. If she were a guy, we'd probably be like two peas in a pod. Although that's the same way it is right now. Ahaha! But you see, even that Mi-chan is actually really feminine. Reina, how much did Mion pay you exactly? That's not true! Jeez, I'm trying to have a serious conversation, you know? Reina began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to joke around. Mi-chan is the club president, so she's trying hard to lead everybody, but she's really a very cute girl. I really don't want you to forget that, Keiichi-kun. Reina's gaze focused off into the distance, beyond where Mion was. The Mion that I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different compared to the Mion that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job. It was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Mion, but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly? Keiichi-kun probably couldn't even begin to imagine. As if to say it was our little secret, Reina held her finger up to her lips as she giggled. Mion, finally free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment. This old man, you see, thinks that grade school is enough for everything you need to study for in life. Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine, right? I wonder if I can meet Shion again. I wanted to talk to her again. Clang clang! The principal waved round the bell that served as the school chime. The teacher rushed back to the blackboard and began to list everybody's homework assignments. Wow! It looks like there's gonna be a lot of homework today. Gotta buckle down. Well then, that means even Reina? Huh? What do you mean? Appearances can be deceiving. Would that apply to you too? Huh? Keiichi-kun, how do you see me? How? The Reina Ryugu that I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle ideal girl. Really? Then that makes me happy, I guess. If she was the opposite of what she seemed, that would make her... And if I were really the opposite? Just try saying it, I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant. Reina is... Reina is? Even if you were the opposite, you'd still be Reina, right? This question shouldn't have been so nerve-wracking to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but... even the saying that took a strange amount of effort. That's no fair, Keiichi-kun. It bothers me when you say it that way. Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Reina's face began to burn red with embarrassment. Reina! Kei-chan! Let's go home. Mion walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there was missing. What's the matter, Kei-chan? The key to my house I always carry around is gone. Man, where did I lose it? It's fine today, since my parents are home, but still, this is bad. It sure is troublesome. Did you forget it somewhere, or did you drop it? Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh? Kei-chan, did that key have everything that would make it stand out? Yeah, it's on a keychain. It was a blue fur seal, something I made from summer homework a long time ago. Huh? Does it have its eyes shut like it's taking a nap? Oh, how did you know? Yeah, that's it. Mion looked away and began to whistle. See, you went for dinner at Angel Mort a couple of days ago, right? That night, the staff found a key, and there was a fur seal keychain attached to it. As she said that, she suddenly grew flustered and added that Shion had told her about it. Huh? So I dropped it then. But aren't you glad they found it? I'm sure they are looking after it for you. That's right. Why don't you go? Shion looks the same as me. Shion looks the same as me, so you'll know her by sight. This was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion. But I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time and chatting with this other side of Mion might be interesting. Half jokingly, I began to think about things like that. This, blah. Right, Angel Mort was it. I'll head over to Shion's restaurant and get my key back. While I'm at it, having a nice spot of tea might not be a bad idea. You sound like an English gentleman. That totally doesn't suit you, Kei-chan. Is this the restaurant? The one that Mi-chan's little sister's working at? Yeah, why don't we go together, Reina? Sorry to disappoint you, but I have plans with my father today. Some other time. Reina seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity. You said they're twins, but do they really look that much alike? Enough to mistake which is which? Yeah, they're totally the same. At least on the outside. Unlike Mion, she's well-mannered and really cute though. In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. Mann, dieser Kackhusten nervt so sehr. So, wie geht's denn euch? Wie geht's euch eigentlich denn so? Ich hoffe doch gut. Ich hoffe doch besser als mir. Das wäre zumindest schon mal etwas. Ach, Mann, Gott. After going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Hast gerade eben etwas gegessen. Oh, sollte ich eventuell auch machen. Ich habe heute... Doch, ich habe was gegessen. Aber nicht sehr viel. Just thinking that I would be able to meet Xion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Xion, a name for a different kind of Mion. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone like that. Die Katastrophe ist aber nicht gut. Warum das denn? Hoffe nichts allzu Schlimmes. I noticed that I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Xion? I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was headed towards a new friend's house for the first time. What Rena said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang to mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew about that side. These feelings mixed together. 2 Auto... Oh. Gut, dann... Zumindest ist es schön, dass keiner schwer verletzt wurde. Immerhin das. Aber ansonsten... an die Beteiligten auf jeden Fall. Falls was ist, gute Besserung. Und ansonsten hoffe ich, dass sich das bisschen nicht längerfristig irgendwie negativ auswirkt. Wäre nicht so schön. Weiter geht's. That was Xion for you. Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to just call her Xion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. Was? Okay. The last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with that. The last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with that. But this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about it. Meet Xion, get my key back. That was all this task was supposed to be. Keine bleibenden Schäden. Okay, das ist schon mal gut. Autos sind halt, ja. Das ist dann wieder Kacke. Aber zumindest geht's den Leuten gut. Oder halt. Zumindest nix längerfristiges. If I dawdled around like this, maybe Xion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Keiichi Maebara? You're just here to get your key back, you know? It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. Ah! The thoughts inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. I came to the realization that I was downright giddy. Giddy? Was ist denn? Giddy für ein Wort. Sehr merkwürdiges Adjektiv. Giddy. Ich kenne nur den Begriff Giddy ab. Aber ich habe auch absolut keine Ahnung, was das bedeuten soll. Giddy. Schwindelig. Oberflächlich. Leichtfertig. Taumelig. Schwummrig. Schwindelerregend. Okay. Giddy with pleasure ist irgendwie ganz außer sich vor Freude und Giddy with excitement ist vor Aufregung ganz aus dem Häuschen. Okay. Interessant. Nee, das ist, wie heißt der, Quagmire, glaube ich, der sagt Gigidi. Das ist einfach nur so dummes Geräusch, das der macht. Hat, glaube ich, nichts zu bedeuten. That's why, just for a bit, just a tiny little bit, I got a little carried away and did something really stupid. I kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the sidewalk. Ah, jetzt kommt die Szene, okay. It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. I definitely think I got too carried away. Thunk, clack, crash. As the 3 bikes toppled on after another. Moment. Jetzt wollte ich gerade die Szene auf YouTube raussuchen. Und so nebenbei abspielen lassen, aber nee. Ist anscheinend nicht auf den ersten Blick drauf. As the 3 bikes toppled all one after another like dominoes, the loud noise they caused snapped me back to my senses. Oh shit. The hell you think you're doing? The owners of those 3 bikes were right there. They looked exactly like what you'd call thugs, up to no good. They lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I had never heard before. The 3 of them beelined towards me, the worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapping noisily against the pavement. I could only stare listlessly, as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. By the time I realized it, I had been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. Don't be playing dumb. You knocked them over, didn't ya? Huh? The 3 thugs were completely ignoring the rules of grammar. Okay. But the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away. My legs buckled and my throat grew dry enough to crack. I'm sorry, I accident my ace. You kicked it, didn't ya, dumbass? I was completely at fault, so there was nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher. The hell, man? The paint's all scuffed. Yo, Brad, who put you up to this, eh? This is your goddamn fault. The 3 of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them were saying. Getting further enraged that I was only listening while dumbstruck, they grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to smash it repeatedly against a telephone pole. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. They then slammed it full force into the shuttered storefront. Warum machen die das? The shutter let out a frighteningly loud noise. Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. Das macht keinen Sinn. Warum? Hä, das macht keinen Sinn. Wenn es leere Dosen sind, dann kann der Inhalt von denen nicht überall verstreut sein. Egal. Beziehungsweise, oder das bezieht sich auf den Case of Empty Cans und dass der Content dann die leeren Dosen sind. Also ein bisschen merkwürdig beschrieben. But this was not normal. It was something you saw often on television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of a civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. This is what you would call absolute terror. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? My gaze floundered about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these three hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. Maybe this was what you call reaping what you sow. If I were a passerby, there would be no doubt that I'd ignore what was going on. So this was somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Fucking say something! I'll fucking stab ye! Angry yelling loud enough to rattle my eardrums spewed forth right in front of my face. Sind es Schotten oder was? Komischer Dialekt. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thug had cocked back his free hand and twisted his body, when suddenly a metallic taste filtered through the back of my throat. Chill ran down my spine, like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and grit my teeth. You're making quite a racket, you stupid pieces of trash. Get out of my sight. The voice was a short distance away. Still holding me by the collar, the three thugs spun around to look behind them. The fuck you saying? Standing there was Shion. Mion. She stood there, displaying an imposing stature that I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them, the eyes of a raptor. They were the epitome of terror. At the same time, they were the most reassuring thing in the world. I only say it one more time. Let go of Kei-chan and get lost. Mion, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those three wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. You fucking bitch! I'll fucking bash your head in! Stop it, Mion. These guys are like rabbit dogs. No amount of bluffing will work. Mion, it's dangerous, so... I knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Mion get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Mion was only bluffing. But did Mion even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. At first, it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of shopping taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up, and it was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around Mion there was already about 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because the group that gathered was diverse in age and gender. The three thugs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Who the hell are these guys? Behind them at some point 4 more people of different clothes and ages had gathered. A girl who looked to be in middle school, a man wearing a bakery apron, an old lady in a house cleaning smock. More and more people of various ages. Their gazes, comparable to Mion's, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa? More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okinomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. The fuck are you guys? Go the fuck away! The group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to around 20 people. Completely encircled, the faces of the thugs began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. That made everything completely unnatural and, depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everybody else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. Alright. So what's going on here? What's going on? It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle. Oh, officer, good timing. There you go. The extortionists caught red-handed. Please arrest them. The fuck? This Brett's the one that's wrong there, here. Mion, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course, the thugs were furious, but now that it had come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss. Okay, come over here for a sec. Come on, already. The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars. The fuck, let me go! We're the victims here, are you listening, damn it? No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the 2 vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible. Are you alright? Are you injured? It was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face. No, not really.
Well, that's a bit of a silver lining then. Well then, have a good year.
The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd.
Thank you, citizens, for your timely report. Thanks to your efforts, we were able to keep the peace together. The peace today, meine ich. It's a wonderful thing.
Thank you for your hard work, Detective Oishi. As a citizen, I thank you for your daily efforts. It's an honor for a detective from the 1st Division to come out all this way. The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone.
It was a coincidence. I happened to hear the call over the radio on my back from the prefectural office. I just made a little detour.
Please keep up the good work. I pray for success in your future endeavors.
No, shucks. It's a good thing there were no injuries, though.
Oishi-san, we're done here. Let's go.
Well then, have a good year. I'm sorry, could you make the way?
The detective named Oishi after jovially, irgendwie so, keine Ahnung, making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply. Man. Alright, that's a wrap. And don't come back. That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everybody began smiling. A middle-aged man helped me up. Are you okay, young Maebara? Next time you pick your fights a bit better. It's not like I wanted to fight. Are you hurt anywhere? If you hit your head, it would be a good idea to get an X-ray taken. An older lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury. You were lucky this happened right in front of the station when it was busy. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to gather as many people. Next time, be more careful. City kids these days are pretty unruly. I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me. Well, you're pretty good, Kei-chan. But I also think you should be more careful about who you pick a fight with. Thanks, Mion. You saved my bacon there. Like I said, I'm Shion. She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze toward, blushing in embarrassment. I heard from my sister that first steel keychain was yours, Kei-chan. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was just heading to the restaurant. And you ended up feeling so excited that you got mixed up in something weird? Now it was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit that she was spot on. Well, I was just unlucky. But you really saved me, Shion. You don't have to thank me. So, if you see somebody else getting bullied, help them out, okay? We value that kind of thing very highly here. I was well versed in that sense of camaraderie. Camaraderie. Okay. Camaraderie. But the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. While I was helped out, it was honestly to an almost disturbing degree. Kamerad. Ich nehm stark an, Kameradschaft. Ich kann noch kurz gucken. Kameraderie. Kameradschaft, Kameradschaftsgeist oder tatsächlich, es gibt auch das Wort Kameraderie im Deutschen. Interessant. Aber Kameradschaft ist das gebräuchlichste. You're coming into a restaurant, right? You must be tired, so why don't you relax for a bit? My treat. Seems that she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. So. Erste Hälfte vom Kapitel fertig. Heißt, nächsten Samstag. Wahrscheinlich nächsten Samstag geht's weiter. Ich muss mal gucken. Weil eventuell wollte Jezebel nächste Woche zu mir kommen. Ich bin mir aber nicht sicher, ob das dann noch irgendwie aktuell ist oder so. Müssen wir mal schauen. Weil dieses Wochenende ist sie, hat sie ja gemeint, kommt sie nicht, weil sie in Forchheim ist, aber das hat sich irgendwie, das war dann irgendwie doch nicht, keine Ahnung, oder irgendwie verschoben oder so, keine Ahnung. Müssen wir mal schauen, wie das Ganze so dann ist. So, Abstimmung. Eine Stimme für Devil May Cry, eine Stimme für Shovel Knight. Hätte ich eigentlich Lust auf beides gleich. Ja gut, dann machen wir... Was machen wir? Machen wir zuerst Devil May Cry und dann Shovel Knight. Zwischen den beiden werde ich, glaube ich, keine Pause machen, weil Devil May Cry machen wir 2 Missionen eigentlich immer nur. Und ja, es geht relativ schnell und Shovel Knight spielen wir eigentlich auch nicht so extrem lang immer. Dann Devil May Cry, dann nach der Pause. Und nach Devil May Cry dann Shovel Knight. Und dann noch Night of the Rabbit, so ein bisschen zum Entspannen. Und dann schauen wir mal, was wir sonst noch so alles da haben. Bin gerade am Überlegen. Ja, ich kann ja ein paar neue Spiele mal zeigen. Zum Beispiel, ich habe so ein Spiel hier, das hat mir, glaube ich, Jezebel mal geschenkt. Das nennt sich Crypt of the Necro Dancer. Und das ist. Es spielt sich sehr interessant, also hat sehr interessantes Gameplay. Würde ich ganz gerne mal zeigen. Vielleicht spielen wir das auch weiter, aber es ist, weiß nicht, es ist. Ich weiß nicht, ob es für einen Stream geeignet ist, also das Spiel komplett für einen Stream durchzuspielen. Aber auf jeden Fall mal zu zeigen, ist es auf jeden Fall ziemlich cool. Gut. Necrodancer, ja. Das ist so ein Dungeon Crawler vermischt mit Rhythmus-Musikspiel. Das ist sehr, sehr cool. Besonders, weil man da auch seine eigene Musik mit reinbringen kann und also bei Dingern, wo man den Beat auch wirklich raushört, ist es ganz akkurat mit dem Rhythmus. Bei so anderen Sachen hat es noch ein paar Probleme, da einen halbwegs guten, passenden Rhythmus zu finden, aber Megalovania hab ich auch schon mal ausprobiert. Es ist okay. Also es ist nicht super akkurat, aber es ist auf jeden Fall nicht extrem schlecht. Oder allgemein nicht schlecht. Eigentlich ziemlich cool. Aber das werden wir dann alles später heute noch sehen. Oder ja. In diesem Stream auf jeden Fall noch. Gut, dann machen wir kurz Pause. Und ja, dann bin ich gleich wieder da. Gott. Ja, gut. Dann bis gleich. So, da bin ich wieder. Hat ein bisschen länger gedauert. Weil ich habe mir noch was zu essen gemacht. Und ja. Aber jetzt geht's weiter. Noms, ja. Pizza. Und schon. Devil May Cry. Ewig viele Intros, die man wieder nicht überspringen kann. Ist mir scheißegal, ob das irgendwas mit AMD zu tun hat. Ich will das Spiel spielen. Gott. Hast du schon wieder Hunger? Hast du nicht vorhin was gegessen? Ups, Moment. Peak. Was habe ich getan? Ich habe meine Elgato kurz angemacht. Die muss aus. So. Game-Aufnahme. Devil May Cry. Tada. Chinesisches Essen. Nom nom. Nom nom. So, der innere Teufel. Okay, ja, mal schauen.
Schmerz ist deine Erlösung. Wie lange warst du blind an diesem Ort eingesperrt?
Hunderte Jahre.
Okay.
Bist du sicher, du kennst dich hier aus?
Wie meine eigene Westentasche.
Hey! Pass doch auf!
Ganz vergessen. Wir sehen die Dinge etwas unterschiedlich.
Was?
Die Dinge unterschiedlich zu betrachten öffnet neue Wege.
Was meinst du?
Du siehst in mir nur Böses, weil ich ein Dämon bin. Sei nicht so engstirnig. Es ist alles eine Frage der Perspektive.
Okay. Interessant.
Wie ich schon sagte, wir sehen die Dinge unterschiedlich. Wir treffen uns voraus. Ich muss dir was zeigen.
Treffen wir uns voraus. Okay.
Stelle keine Autorität in Frage.
Jetzt habe ich die Axt. Ja, Axt. Streitaxt. Wieder. Wie kann ich nochmal? Ah, so kann ich die. Ich bleib bei der Axt. Die sieht ein bisschen cooler aus. Ist wahrscheinlich auch von der Effektivität her wahrscheinlich ähnlich wie die andere. Kommt bald die beste Stelle im Spiel. Cool. Oh, da ist er ja. Oh.
Ihr Name war Asiel. Ein uraltes Wesen. Ein Nephilim, wie du.
Ich wusste nicht, dass es weitere gab.
Die Nephilim waren die dritte Rasse. Leider wurden sie gejagt und getötet.
Warum?
Sie hielten die Macht von Engeln und Dämonen. Doch anders als diese konnten die Nephilim die Welten durchschreiten. Sie waren wahrlich eindrucksvoll.
Und das machte sie zur Bedrohung. Wie mich.
Und wie du hatten sie großes Potenzial. Solch eine Verschwendung. Du willst dein Potenzial erschließen. Vielleicht kann Asiel helfen.
Nur wenn man den Anfang noch im Kopf hat. Kommt drauf an, welcher Anfang gemeint ist. Noch das Zeug mit dem Jahrmarkt oder noch was anderes oder irgendwie. Das war scheiße. Ja. Das mit dem Jagd, gut. Das habe ich noch so halb im Kopf. Zumindest so, was da so. Ja. Kommt drauf an, mal gucken. Hexe.
Nein, es ist ein beschissener Ding.
Okay. Okay, ich weiß vielleicht, was ich machen muss. Schwert ranziehen und dann schlagen. Ja. Hatte ich nicht immer durchschnittlich 10 bis 20 zu... Ja, das hat sich über die Zeit ein bisschen geändert. Leider. Also ich meine, du hast ja zum Beispiel auch schon ewig lang nicht mehr zugeschaut. Und das haben halt alle anderen, oder so gut wie alle anderen von damals
Asyl hat den Schlüssel.
auch gemacht. Und dementsprechend, ja. Es ist schön. So, Schlüssel. Hallo. Ich weiß nicht, wie ich dich nennen soll. Insert random Japanese name ist ein bisschen lang. Hallo. Neo, okay. Ich hoffe, ich merk's mir. Falls ich das irgendwann wieder vergesse, bitte einfach nur mal drauf hinweisen. Neo. Hallo, Neo. Gut. Einfach an Matrix denken und fertig.
In Ordnung. Schauen wir,
Einfach
was
an
passiert.
japanische Matrix denken. Japaner sind gut in Computersachen. Matrix ist virtuelle Realität. Irgendwie so halb Zeug. Keine Ahnung, ich habe Matrix nie gesehen. Neo, Japaner, Name. So. Mal gucken, ob die Verknüpfung in meinem Kopf bleibt. Oh. Auge von Sauron.
Dante, du bist hier, weil ich
Das ist aber
dich
jetzt
nicht
ein Herr der Ringe.
beschützen konnte. Es tut mir wirklich leid. Dein Vater hat sich in mich verliebt. Die Liebe durchbrach strenge, uralte Grenzen.
Herr der Ringe habe ich übrigens auch nie gesehen.
Wir wählten unseren Pfad im Angesicht eines sicheren Endes. Nie bereuten
Oder-
wir unsere Entscheidungen.
Nur so kleine
Wir
Teile
ließen
immer
sie
mal.
wie deine eigene, mein Sohn. Nun wirst du endlich diese Wahl haben. Du wirst große Macht besitzen.
Okay.
Eine Macht, mit der du deinen eigenen Pfad wählen kannst. Das, mein Sohn, ist Freiheit. Sei tapfer, mein Sohn. Ich liebe dich.
Sagt sie auch nur, weil sie meine Mami ist. So. Dämonentrieb. Das haben wir wieder so Limit Break, Intenso, wie hieß es bei Alice Matters, Hysterie, sowas. Boom. Ich mach doch. Weiße Haare. Yay. Oh. Okay. Gealtert, ja. Temporäres Alter.
Deine Vergangenheit wurde nicht ohne Grund verschleiert.
Okay.
Dante.
Oh, richtig, der Turm. Auf dem Weg.
Alles klar. Vielleicht schaffe ich es auch irgendwie mal. Irgendwann mal eine halbwegs gute Verbindung in meinem Kopf mit Neonlicht und Neo. Und Japaner. Japaner Tokio. Sehr viel Neonlicht. Neo. 3 Buchstaben Arcade. Vielleicht, ich hoffe, ich merke es mir. Ah, Bullshit. So viele Leute auf einmal. Ah! Weg. Jetzt hat die ihren Schild auf den anderen Brücken drauf getan. Hätte sie eventuell nicht machen sollen. Au! Mein Gott. Nein, du sollst das Schwert holen. Ah, dann halt. Alter. Also Brücke auf den Kopf. Ja. Also ja. Kann mich noch dran erinnern, ja. Aber auch gleich tot. Das ist nicht gut. Wie mache ich den die da oben kaputt? Die grünen Dinge. Ich brauche Leben. Gut, wenigstens das. So, wo geht's hin? Ah. Ja. Verbesserungen. nicht ausziehen. Ah, bitte. Alter, ich habe keine Ahnung, was für Zeug ich nehmen soll, weil ich den restlichen Schwachsinn einfach nicht nutzen werde. Ah, machen wir einfach das. Wie viel kostet 3500? Okay. Gefallene Harpie. Okay. Scheiß auf Stilpunkte, Hauptsache ich komme durch. Bläh. Bullshit! Warum bewege ich mich nicht? Wo sind denn die jetzt? Achtung. Ups, falsche Richtung. Hilfe? Komm, Alte. Hat eine kahle Stelle am Kopf? Ich glaube, das ist einfach nur weiße Haare. Ich glaube, die färben sich langsam. Oh. Das ist Zeug ein bisschen permanent sogar. Vielleicht ist es ja die Vorgeschichte zu dem normalen Devil May Cry für die ganzen PlayStation-Sachen und so weiter. Und so sieht man so sieht man dann, wie der seine weißen Haare bekommen hat. Also. Genau. Yay! Ich bin mal richtig. Ich hab mal was richtig. Jeder getötete Gegner stellt einen Teil des dann überlebe, bis die Zeit abläuft. Okay. Ach, mein Leben wird immer weniger. Wenn es jetzt Glas ist, ich hoffe, das geht jetzt, hat jetzt nicht das Gimmick übernommen, dass es kaputt geht. Das wäre nicht so. Sieht aber nicht so aus. Au. So, noch mehr Gegner. Oh. Ich habe gedacht, ich treffe den anderen noch. Fuck! Okay. Wieder etwas gerettet. Hilfe! Nein! Kettensägenmenschen. Nee. Oh, fick. Ah, ich wollte noch ausweichen. Nein! Oh Gott, ist das schwer. Was ist das denn jetzt für einer? Ups, falsch. Ich hab falsche Taste. Fuck, ist das schwer. Wenn mir nicht über Zeit die ganze Gesundheit weggehen wird, wäre das ein bisschen leichter. Ja, Alter. Gott, ist das Ausweichen im Spiel ein bisschen wie soll ich sagen? Das ist sehr streng. Das ist sehr steif. Das Ausweichen. Warum greifst du von allen Gegnern, die hinter hier sind, genau den Gegner an, der ein Schild hat? Alter! Jetzt stirbt. Fuck, das schaffe ich wieder nicht. Das schaffe ich wieder nicht. Besonders wenn jetzt so ein Kettensägenmensch kommt. Nein! Alter! Mucke ist gut, ja, das ist, wie heißt Combi Christ. Das ist eine Band, die hat einfach den kompletten Soundtrack anscheinend für das Spiel gemacht. Ich probiere es jetzt noch einmal, wenn ich es jetzt nicht schaffe, dann lasse ich es. Und ich sollte eventuell mit dem Button mashen aufhören, sondern wirklich gezielt gucken, was ich mache. Damit zum Beispiel der mich nicht kriegt. Die letzte Minute wird immer die nervigste. Ich weiß auch gar nicht mehr die komische Strategie für diese komischen Kettensägenmenschen. Nein! Alter. Ach komm, die Kamera. Warum hat sich die scheiß Kamera denn jetzt bitte gedreht, damit ich natürlich nicht sehe, dass da einer ankommt? Kann ich das auch brechen? Nein, nicht beenden, ja. Ein Schwachsinn, ey. Leckt das nur bei dir, weiß ich nicht. Vielleicht. Kann aber auch an mir liegen, weiß ich nicht. Alter, warum ist so gut wie in jedem Spiel die scheiß Kamera ein Kackproblem?
Was ist los?
Du hast deinen inneren Dämon gefunden. Doch du musst dein volles Potenzial erschließen.
Eigentlich will ich nur einen Dämonenkönig namens
Hat schon
Mundus
aufgehört,
töten.
okay.
Und wenn du Mundus tötest, wer wird seinen Platz einnehmen?
Ist es denn ernsthaft so extrem schwer, eine gute Kack-Kamera zu programmieren? So, nächste Mission machen wir noch. Üble Nachrichten, okay.
Ich eigne mich nicht mehr für Gewalt. Ich kann nicht fortfahren.
Danke, Phineas.
Es war kein wirklicher Gefallen. Ich will, dass Mundus vernichtet wird. Und jetzt glaube ich, dass du eine Chance hast.
Was hat deine Meinung geändert?
Du hattest recht. Du bist nicht nur wie dein Vater. Ich sehe auch deine Mutter in dir. Wenn du Mundus hart treffen willst, gibt es Folgendes. Nun, Mundus hat nahezu endlose Macht. Doch er hat eine Schwachstelle.
Er hat eine Schwachstelle?
Ja. Sein Weib, Lilith.
Seine Schwäche ist seine Liebe für sie?
Mundus. Liebe? Ganz sicher nicht. Dennoch ist sie für ihn vor kurzem zum wichtigsten Wesen der Welt geworden. Ich habe es gesehen. Lilith, sein Weib, wird sein Kind gebären. Seinen Erben. Du willst Mundus verletzen. Töte Lilith. Töte das Kind. Nichts wird ihm mehr wehtun. Doch sei gewarnt. Mundus Wut kennt keine Grenzen. Tausende könnten dabei sterben.
Ich nehm's fast an. Ich meine, man hat die ja vorhin, oder halt, was heißt vorhin? In der früheren Mission hat man die ja Vögeln sehen. Kann gut sein, dass das die war. Warum bin ich jetzt kopfüber? Muss das sein? Wenn ich springe? Ich kann nicht springen, okay. Ich kann eigentlich nichts machen, außer laufen. Also ich will's jetzt natürlich nicht hoffen, dass das komische Vibe, das aussieht wie Frankensteins Monster, dass es Lilith ist, aber wer weiß.
Gut. Endlich habe ich deine Aufmerksamkeit.
Ist aber nicht gut. Bist kein guter Ninja. Oh Gott. Oh Gott. Ui. 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 Wow. Hilfe. Ja, gut, das hat das Ding gerade, woran ich mich gerade angehangen habe, zwar kaputt gemacht, bevor ich überhaupt dran war, wie jetzt gerade auch wieder, aber... Boom! Durch den Fernseher. In die virtuelle Welt. In die Matrix. Liebste biblische Figur. Kann ich nicht mitreden. Ich habe die Bibel nie gelesen. Sind wir jetzt ernsthaft in der... Willkommen in Realität 2.0. Das sollte eigentlich nur ein Witz sein. Ah, okay. Dann ist es halt tatsächlich so. Ui. Das ist nicht Lilith. Bob. Okay. Du bist ein Kopf. Greift er mich jetzt mit Nachrichten?
Meiner Ansicht nach sind die Terroristen
Nachrichten
ekelhaft, menschenunwürdig, grausam, schmutzig, unzüchtig und allgemein wird mir vom Gedanken an sie übel. Der schlimmste von allen ist Dante. Die ganze Welt würde von seinem Ende profitieren.
Warum ist Audio teilweise ein bisschen... Oh. Oi! Ich fühle mich ein klein bisschen wie im Bosskampf gegen Sans. Muss ich hier Sachen machen? Erste Frau Adams hat sich geweigert, es sich ihm so unterzuordnen, von die Hölle, schlief mit dem Teufelsmutter aller Dinge. Okay. Interessant. Was muss ich denn machen? Ich bin mir sehr sicher, ich muss hier auf den Plattformen irgendwas machen. Wenn ich nur wüsste, was... Au. Rezarus, hilf mir! Man sieht dann, okay, also viel Ausdruck. Kann gut sein, dass es gerade ein bisschen leckt. Ich muss mal kurz gucken. Steam lädt nichts